What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Virgin Galactic. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off with data points, this upcoming week, we don't really have too much. The only real data point is going to be on Friday, and that is PPI right over here. Throughout the whole week, you can kind of categorize it as Fed week. There's a hell of a lot of Fed speakers, and unfortunately there's a lot of things that they can kind of talk about, both positive and negative. Some of the positives is kind of linked to manufacturing data. So there's been a lot of good expansion, so every single manufacturing data point has been positive. On a negative side, there's a lot that they can kind of talk on, especially from Friday, Trump doing a global 10% tariff. That's not the greatest. At the same time, so Supreme Court striking down his tariffs kind of caused him to react and just do a global 10% tariff. We already do have so far over the weekend the EU saying that we're going to counter. So it seems very much like April 2025 all over again, just magnified, if that kind of makes sense. So unfortunately, this upcoming week, not looking too great. So I'm going to go over near the end of the video some key support and resistance points. But as far as companies putting out their earnings, this is probably as well going to be another big attributing factor, whether we kind of move higher or we start to have legitimate fear. So for instance, him and hers, AMC, we have a lot of quantum stocks, Nvidia, so a lot of different sectors and a lot of hot stocks that again could easily move the broader market. In Virgin's case, so my last video, I did mention that they were going to be announcing the date of their earnings and most likely announcing kind of ticket sales, right? At least the launch of that. Unfortunately, that hasn't come out, the ticket side. They did announce their earnings. So this is very odd, and so potentially a red flag, at least again in the eyes of Wall Street. So Virgin Galactic announces date of fourth quarter and full year 2025 financial results and conference call. So they did slate it for March 30th, 2026. If we kind of look back historically, and I know some people might disagree with me on this, saying it's not a big deal, but in all honesty, Wall Street does care about this type of stuff. So whenever a company kind of moves it up, sometimes that's seen as positive. Whenever a company moves back their earnings, it's kind of seen as a negative. So historically, 2025, they did have their Q4 earnings February the 26th. Year prior, February the 27th, February the 28th. So you guys kind of can catch on, right? Even 2022, it was February the 22nd. So ultimately, them doing it on March the 30th, there could be a lot of different attributing factors, maybe one positive justified reason why they would be doing it, but there's probably 9 or 10 different other negative explanations why that is not good. So at the end of the day, they didn't really give any explanation whatsoever on this. So unfortunately, they're leaving it to Wall Street to come up with their own conclusion. And typically, Wall Street likes to think very negative initially. So at the end of the day, this could be nothing, or it could be kind of a sign of just improper accounting, or maybe a very big discrepancy. We've seen a lot of companies, or at least I've seen a lot of companies that kind of do this type of thing, and it turns out to be a massive nightmare. So at the end of the day, this, like I said, might be something to just kind of watch for. Shorts right now are sitting at 23.21% of the free float. So they've honestly haven't really done too much since my last video. They still do make up for a good chunk, so anywhere from like 40 to 60% of the daily volume. So shorts, in my opinion, they can kind of control Virgin Galactic. And up until they actually do put out a good catalyst showing operational improvement, shorts are going to continue to pretty much own Virgin and just kind of dictate what is kind of happening to it. So just anticipate the same to kind of occur this upcoming week. Cost to borrow average 17.86%. Short score is 78.4. As I've mentioned though, even though a lot of things so far I'm bringing up this upcoming week appear to be somewhat negative, I still do believe in Virgin bigger picture. best thing to do is just kind of dollar cost average. But looking at the options, this is something I've never really liked with Virgin, is just their options. Like, nobody really does it whatsoever. So from a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for this upcoming week for it to be roughly around 3. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 250. So obviously not much to really analyze based on that. From Friday, there was absolutely no transactions on the secondary market and no transactions on the dark pool. So still, big money is just avoiding Virgin Galactic like the plague, regrettably. And I think Virgin could easily put out some news and some just general updates that might incentivize some institutions and maybe counter this negative sentiment associated to their earnings. But they're not. And they actually tend to be more on the quiet side rather than anything. But some key levels to watch for with it at 246. It did close on Friday right below this S1. So ideally, early on in the week, you really want to watch for it to get above that 249. Then this is where you could see a nice little bit of a recovery. For instance, on Friday, it did bounce off of this general range of that 261. So that is a kind of a heavy resistance point, so just watch for that. Some levels to watch for support, 242 and then 231. Given the circumstances, both of those could very much be on the table this week. So again, if you want a dollar cost average swing trade, just kind of watch for that. And you never know, if things start to really snowball out of control, then this is where you could see a new 52-week low. Currently that's sitting at 218. But aside from all of that fun stuff on the actual chart itself, not going to sugarcoat it, it's not looking great. So it's been really struggling to even close above that 10-day moving average. So it kind of signals that's losing a little bit of momentum. At the same time, it's losing a lot of volume. So kind of giving shorts a little bit more power than what they already did have. So even on Friday, only 1.5 million shares being traded, but it is below all the key pivotal moving averages. Looking at the market position right here, don't see that much willing buyers. So again, you could be seeing some level of consolidation ultimately. Stochastic RSI is at 59, so it's neutral, not really overbought nor oversold. No new analyst ratings, no articles really coming out associated to Virgin. There kind of signals a lot of articles here, but they're just throwing in Virgin's name, nothing really specific to them. So all in all, I do believe that this week you might be seeing some level of consolidation, but still bigger picture, there's some pretty good catalysts. But let me know your thoughts on Virgin. Are you buying? Are you selling? What are you generally doing? One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid on-point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades, worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.